Hi everyone, welcome back. Today I wanted to chat a little bit about FyshOS. It's something that I've been working on over the last few days to try and make it a little bit more ready for people to try out. If you've not seen it before, if you've not seen one of my videos where I've showed elements of it, then you can get a good start by heading to fyshos.com here. You can see some screenshots of the boot screen, the installation, the login manager, and some of the applications that come bundled with it. It is a complete Linux desktop built on top of Debian, and all of the graphical applications are Fine-based. So we've got a lighter weight desktop, something that's rather more responsive than some of the alternatives, but it's all written with Go. It's really easy to build, and it makes for a very pleasant development environment as well. What I've been working on recently is how this could be distributed to multiple different architectures. I have an old netbook which is running a 32-bit Intel chip and a really modern Mac computer that's, as you might imagine, a 64-bit ARM processor. But so far we've only been building for the Intel 64-bit CPU. So I put a little bit of time into updating that. You can find lots of information and see how the image is built in the FyshOS repository inside the FyshOS organization. There's a few screenshots here, but also some build instructions. It's all built on top of the Debian live build Linux custom distribution. And that had, until very recently, just been the one architecture. As you can see here in the commit notes, there's been some work going on there. And if you go to the releases, you'll see that the testing tag, which is where everything is at the moment, we're still quite early days. The releases attached to it have been enhanced to add more new assets. You can also see the ordering of our date sample has changed as well, because instead of just the date being at the end, we've got different architectures, and so I've changed it so the date says when it was built, but the architecture there is at the end, so we have different builds built around the same time grouped together. At the moment, there's just one. It worked, and I was very excited. You can see we have, as well as the AMD 64, that's the traditional Intel one, the ARM 64, and the i386 for the older 32-bit chips. All of these boots, they have the installation medium and all of the packages installed, but you can see from this total here, the new ones are a little bit smaller. It seems we're having a little bit of an issue getting the graphical installer to be completely ready, and so there's some elements there. The Debian installer doesn't actually run on Fine yet, so the larger image is required for a graphical installation. Now, if that doesn't mean anything, that's pretty cool, because I'm going to show you a little bit about what this image contains so you can try it out and maybe give it a shot on some of these different architectures and help us troubleshoot some of the issues that are being found. So I have booted this AMD 64 in a QEMU environment. You can see here I've got this just booted up, and I'm going to start the boot process. You can run a live installation, which I'm just going to show you. That's like the desktop running on this image, or it could be from a USB stick. You could also start the installer directly from there, but actually I would like to boot just to show you what's set up. You can see the build number at the top, and we're just going to start the boot process. We have our friendly fish logo here to keep us company whilst it boots. And I'm just going to put this into full screen mode. And there we go, the window is now full screen. If you're on the Fine desktop, by the way, you could do that just with the meta key and F11. It just takes a little moment to load the graphical environment. This is the text that you see very briefly before the desktop appears. And now you can see the desktop. It's booted. We're running full screen, but it's scaled from whatever the emulation is. It's not quite the full window, but you get the idea here. We've shipped some standard applications like the Fine terminal that you've seen me using before, and we can just check the details about what's loaded. Excellent. That's the FyshOS loaded. We're running the Fine desktop and Fine term. And there's lots of standard programs For example, this calculator. But because, like I said, this is a developer-oriented experience, we wanted to do more than just deliver applications. So instead of just running these apps, we've included the ability to edit them. So if you choose here, Edit, then it's going to open the Apptrix user interface editor for the application. It does first have to quickly download the source code, but once that's complete, you have the user interface loaded here, and you're now free to make changes to the application. You could preview how it looks here, make whatever changes you would like, and when you're ready, just tap Install, and it's going to make this new version of the application overwrite the one that was previously installed. And so you might be thinking, oh great, cool, how would I install that? Well, another icon that you can see here in the bar, this install icon, is going to launch this standard installation program. It runs a few checks and then boots the user interface. And this now is the standard installation. You could tap through it. If you've ever installed Debian before, it's going to look quite familiar. It will help to install alongside an existing system or take over your entire computer. This is really just, I think, for experts. The virtualization that I'm using here could be a little bit slow, and sometimes it's good to see it working on real hardware, but there is a danger at the moment if you install it alongside your primary operating system. Something could go wrong, and if that happens, there's not a whole lot that we could do because it's going to be very specific to your setup. So if you can check it out safely, let us know how you get on, and hopefully we can continue to evolve this and bring it to the mainstream really soon. Thanks so much for joining me again for one of these videos. As I said before, check out FyshOS.com if you want to know more about this package that we're putting together. Otherwise, please do check out my other channels. I've got my blog at andy.xyz. You could check out my YouTube archive, or of course right here on Patreon at andy.xyz as well. There are lovely stickers illustrated there available. If you would like to sponsor my work, that would be fantastic. I can ship you some stickers, you can get involved in deciding what we put onto the channel. And if you're interested in creating apps or editing them visually, you could go to Apptrix.ai, which is the builder that I showed you. We've made available a very slightly cut down version that's focused on editing applications for the current computer, and that is what's included in the FyshOS distribution. As always, if you want to know more, feel free to get in touch on any of my channels, and I'll see you in the next video.